I think everyone should rush to make 5 or 10,000 or 15,000 a month. 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds, that should be an aspirational thing. 19-year-olds are rushing to make $1 million a year. And I think a lot of it is to do with women. When you're 19, no fucking woman wants you, bro. When I was 19 or 20 with all these girls, it's not, they don't want a guy that age.
Yeah.
They want the guy who's 28 or 30.
You dabble in a bit in property, but you don't really talk about that too much.
Yeah, that when you have a large social media following, you get some big issues.
Yeah,
it can lead to big issues. So a lot of the
I guess you don't want to be telling people, well, I bought this property right here.
Yeah, no, and it comes with it comes with a lot of issues. The other thing is because some of these properties are getting rented out. The dynamic will be different if people know that it's my property.
Yeah, be setting up hidden cameras and weird stuff.
It's not only that. That I'm not worried about. Yeah. The scary stuff. That's not really a concern. It's more so. It's just like it's just different. It may attract a different crowd. I'll be honest. My preference is always when I get a call up and I know that 55-year-old billionaire is staying there with his family for a family vacation. I don't want. I love my audience, but let me put it, I mean this with no disrespect. I wouldn't want me staying there. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
As a owner of the property, I wouldn't want me staying there.
I wouldn't want anyone having a party in my house because I know what happens at parties.
Listen, I wouldn't want anyone to be. Yeah, just no.
Apart from the security issue, is people knowing that you have a lot of money ever come around to just bite you in the ass? Or has there been ever cons associated with that?
In life, in general, it's better for people to not know what you have. And I mean that not only in terms of monetarily, in terms of your abilities. Actually, one of my advantages is the fact that, as I said, a lot of people don't know how sharp I am in the business world and what sort of operator I am. And that gives me some advantage because sometimes people count you out, the people that are relevant. Now, the people that you actually get face to face with, they can kind of see behind the scenes. So I think it's not only just in terms of a monetary perspective. I think it's all in life. It's just better for people to count you out, except for the ones that matter. And the ones that matter, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been anything particular that's, come back to bite me in the ass. But in general,
where's the place you've been to that you've needed the most security, or you've been on edge the most?
Been on edge?
Streets of London.
London, right? London and Cape Town. That's
really. I want to go to South Africa.
Cape Town's great. You'll have no issues. I used to listen. I had a house in Cape Town for years, and I was walking around with Rolex, with Rolex on my wrist, stuff like that. No security. You'll have no issues.
Yeah.
It's just, It's just like if you. I guess, listen, with everything in life, just have your wits about you. I lived in London. I think I was 19 when I bought a Richard Mille. And I was wearing it, when I was 19 years old, I was wearing my RM in London. No issues in this. And I was wearing nice watches, Pateks, this, that, in London for a long time. As long as you're just not dumb, you have your wits about you. So I think all of these places, you'll be fine. It's just certain places definitely make me a little bit more on edge. London is one of those places.
So you got your place in Dubai, which you're renting. You live with your team or some of the closest members of your team. How was that?
I moved into my own place when I was 17 and I was always used to living alone. It's actually been one of the best things to ever happen because I think one issue, and I don't know, maybe you can speak to this, in Dubai, I find a lot of my male friends in Dubai who live alone, who are high achievers, end up getting they feel quite depressed a lot of times because you're in a place where you feel the energy of like, you should be doing something. So you're working super hard. It's also like in London, when I lived in London, I would have friends that would just come ring on my doorbell randomly. And they're like, oh yeah, I was just, going to a coffee shop around the corner. I thought I'd pop in. You don't get that whole vibe of, oh, I just thought I'd pop in here.
Yeah.
So you don't have people kind of just visiting you because, in London or Paris or wherever, you're just going for a walk and you get close enough to a friend's house and you call them and you say, oh, are you in? Let's hang out. You don't get that in Dubai. So I think for me, it was incredible. It was needed. I live with my head of security. So it got to a point where it was needed, and it just made sense. And I also lived my head of production. So for me, it was just, might as well just have the people who are most needed in house with me. And it works well for us. It's like living with your bros. It's perfect.
Yeah, and obviously you're getting your work done as well at the same time.
Yeah, correct.
I experienced my first sort of taste of being alone when I left Newcastle. I had the best group of friends ever, but I knew that I needed to move to London if I wanted to spread my wings and just, crack on with my career. Plus their vision was different to my vision. So I went to London, didn't know anybody in London. And that was when I kind of just locked myself away in my apartment and just made YouTube videos, which was good for business. There was no distraction. I was just working all the time, but it was lonely. That was very lonely. And I don't think I realized how much I actually needed to just go out and interact with people. And I think a lot of young guys have that issue these days where they think, oh, you know what? Screw relationships, screw my friends. Like, I'm just going to lock myself away and work nonstop.
I think it's a period you go through, but also you get to a certain point where you did what you said you were going to do. And I feel like now you kind of deserve to pop your head up and be a normal social person again. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, sometimes you need to go through those periods of isolation. And
for you, if you do monk mode, what does that mean for friendships?
I mean, these days it's not much. I think so. Monk mode was something I started doing 4 years ago. And it was something I was doing anyways, but I just put a name to it. And I think monk mode was floating around as a term, but it wasn't like what it is now. I heard it loosely here and there. So I just started telling my friends, oh, I'm doing monk mode. And it was a way for my friends to, understand. Like my friends would even be like, oh, are you on monk mode? Like offering me a drink. And like, oh, I forgot you're on monk mode, blah, blah. Like it was something that people could get behind. Be like, oh, okay, I get it. He's like in a period of focus, work, and this and that. So I'm just a very intense person. Maybe I make it seem on this podcast like I'm a robot or this and that. Like
you're not.
I fucking party hard. Yeah. Like I enjoy myself more than I like to push everything in my life to 10 out of 10 extreme, because I like to see how far I can take things. So listen, I have a lot of fun, but I like to have a lot of fun. But when I'm not having a lot of fun, I like to work super hard, and I like to have those.
I think it's important as well. At your point in your life, you're 23, man. You have some of the best years ahead of you. The 20s are good. So
the 20s are good. And also, listen, I think especially as a man, you don't hit your best years until you're like at least 26. Like at least.
I would say for me, it was 28. That was when I felt like, oh, do you know what? I understand life. Like I know how it works now. I'm starting to understand how women work. I'm getting money. Yeah, like it's good now.
And listen, the world we live in is savage and I think I've said this before. There's a rush I think everyone should rush to make 5 or 10,000 or 15,000 a month. I think that's a very like even 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds, that should be an aspirational thing. But I mean, there's like 19-year-olds are rushing to make $1 million a year, and I think a lot of it is to do with women. They think that that's going to help them get women, and I really need people to understand that when you're 19, no fucking woman wants you, bro. Yeah. No woman wants you. Like, girls usually don't want a guy below the age of 26. Now, here's the thing. Of course, if you act a certain way, when I was 17, I was dating girls in their 20s. Like I've always just carried myself in a certain way. You just have a certain energy. But nonetheless, when I was 19 or 20 with fucking all these girls, they don't want a guy that age. Yeah. They want the guy who's 28 or 30. So when you're, 21 years old in a rush to become a millionaire because you think it's going to get you all these chicks, just understand you're competing against guys who are like 30, 32. You have no chance. You're fucked. Yeah. Like you have absolutely no chance. So this is why I always tell guys, I say, if you have that day one girl, ride through with her. Like if you have that day one girl that's been with you from the jump, I think that's probably the most beautiful thing that you could ever have, and either take her on this journey with you, or if you don't have that, delay dating as much as you can, because it's go make something of yourself first. And women will always listen. I know that some women might disagree with this. I've seen enough of the world to understand how things are. A woman with one man will act one way and like a total brat, and with another man be on her best behavior. And it's just the way because she understands that one man will tolerate things and another man won't.
How dare you say that?
Listen, it's just the way the world works. And by the way, that's the same thing with men between men. Yeah. You know, a man will act in a certain way. Men wouldn't even dare being a minute late with one person, whereas another person, they know, it's fine. Like, it can slide. So it's just between people. So I think it's much better as a man to build something of yourself, and then you command certain respect and you command certain authority. And especially in today's dating culture, I think as a man, you definitely need authority in your relationship, and you need your woman to respect you. Otherwise, she's got fucking 30 dudes in her DMs right now offering her a flyer to this, that place. And at a certain point, if she's like, doesn't really respect you and she feels like you're kind of nagging her, she's out.
What's your policy then with the ladies at the moment? I'm sure your DM's getting hit up, but you're a busy man. You're focused on work. I don't even know if you've got your main girl. I don't know if we keep that private.
Listen, so I'll be honest. In the same way with business, I think with my interpersonal relationships, I think I could tell people certain things. I could tell guys things, but it just doesn't apply to them. And I think that was some of my issue with what was happening last year with all of the Redpill stuff, is guys were saying, you can have open relationship, and she, you can sleep with other girls, but she shouldn't sleep with any, and she should do this, and you can expect this. And they're like saying this publicly to tens of millions, hundreds of millions of kids, that's what they are, kids, boys. And it's like, why are you telling people stuff that doesn't apply to them? When I come on this podcast, there's so much stuff that 99% of my best stuff I don't say here, because I'm like, it's going to apply to 3 people watching this. So what's the point of me even talking about it? And that's what happened in the Redpill space last year. They kept talking about and that's why when you asked me this question of,
I could tell you've matured.
I've basically just realized there's certain things you just don't need to say, because it doesn't apply to, it applies to 0.001% of the people watching. And if it applies to 0.001% of the people watching, there's probably just no point. So long story short,
it gets chopped up and it gets views though, but
listen, for sure
it doesn't go down well.
For sure, it definitely gets views. But listen, if I had advice for men, as I said, I think for me, there's genuinely nothing better than that day one girl. And especially in today's day and age, that like day one girl who has been there from the beginning, like you can't beat that. And I think that's like the most beautiful story in today's day and age.
I think especially someone like you, I don't know if you could ever find that again.
Yeah, it's very, very, it's tough. And here's the other thing. As a successful guy, you'll always have, the funny thing is, it doesn't matter what position you get to in life. People will always say, oh, but how do you know she's not with you for the money? And it's like, okay, maybe it's, I don't know, because I'm driven, I'm caring, I'm generous, I'm respected. Do you just want to focus on the money? Because then you could say the same thing about the women. Oh, how do you know he's just not with you for the looks? It's like, but women don't get that as much. Like guys, it's always like, how do you know she's just with you for the money? So, but the beautiful thing is, I guess if you're one of those guys who does have a day one girl, then you can always just be like, well, fuck you, actually. Like, she's been with me from the beginning. So I think that's definitely quite a beautiful aspect to it. But it's tough. It's very, very tough for guys out here. And it's very, there's a lot of good things the Red Pill community did do last year, in the sense of like, it's okay to have standards. It's crazy, right? Like, it's okay to have boundaries as a guy. It's okay for you to not be comfortable with things that your woman does. Wow. Like, what a shocking revelation. And I think obviously that made a lot of like women very triggered last year when that whole thing was going down.
You think it's eased off a little bit now?
Listen, everything in life is a pendulum. So when things swing so far this way, and it's not only just the online conversation about interpersonal relationships. It went from like, okay, as a guy, you're not allowed to say anything. Like you're a fucking misogynist if you're not comfortable with your girl being out at 5:30 in the morning in Ibiza. Like, how dare you? You're so controlling. Like, you know, but that was like the level of insanity it was at before. And then it swung so far, which is like, if your girl isn't a virgin, she's a whore. It's like, both those things are so stupid. Like, what world are you living in? So it swung so far from this way to that way that I always knew. I was telling everyone last year, I was telling all my friends, like, it comes back, that this will not be cool, because it's like everything in the early 2000s, it was all about like looking a certain way, like looking as big and jacked as humanly possible. And then it seemed like it went more into like athletic bodybuilder, Gymshark era. And then now I'm sure you see the thing is like hybrid athlete. Yeah. Like that's the cool thing. So everything in life it's always a pendulum.
Things with music as well. The trends in music are coming and going.
All the way down to phone sizes. You know, so these things come and go and they change. So yeah, I think 100% it is massively died off.